Welcome, everyone, to Stories Round the Table with Hudson and Joni. We're here to bring you tales as sweet as a glass of sweet tea on a hot summer day. From the rolling hills of Tennessee to the dusty trails of Texas, we've got stories that'll make you tap your boots and clap your hands. On our podcast, we interview amazing country songwriters and singers, sharing stories of love lost and found, of cowboys and outlaws, and of the simple joys of country living. So grab a seat, pour yourself a drink, and get ready to be transported to a world where the stars shine bright and the music never stops. Whether you're a city slicker or a country bumpkin, there's something here for everyone. So sit back, relax, and join us on a journey through the heart of America. Welcome to Stories Round the Table with Hudson and Joni.
Today on Stories Round the Table, we're thrilled to welcome a true songwriting legend, Lance Cowan. For decades, Lance has been a quiet force in the country music scene, working behind the scenes with some of the biggest names in the genre, including Joe Ely, Jimmy Dale Gilmore, and Nanci Griffith. But Lance Cowan is more than just a collaborator. He's a gifted songwriter in his own right. His debut album, So Far So Good, is a testament to his talent, featuring heartfelt songs about life, love, and the American landscape. Critics are already raving about his work. The Associated Press called his songs populated with compelling characters and fetching melodies, while acclaimed bluegrass artist Irene Kelly declared, "I absolutely love your record. Your writing is really great. I could see Pure Prairie League or Poco covering these." Join us as we delve into Lance's remarkable journey. From working with legendary artists like Janis Ian and David Mallet to honing his own unique voice. This is an interview you won't want to miss.
Hey, Lance, thank you for joining us on Stories Around the Table. We know you're really busy, but we appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, Hudson. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
Yeah, and Lance, I would like to just say that it was such a pleasure to work with you as my publicist when I released my Warner Western album. And it was called Cowgirl Dreams. And boy, you jumped on board and ran with that album. And we got in USA Today, People Magazine. I was amazed at the things you did for me. So you are a wonderful, wonderful publicist. But how great to see you following your dreams as always was a songwriter. But now you released your first album.
I have, but let me back up and say that album is still one I go back and listen to, your album, because it's a great record, as are so many of your other records. So, as I mentioned before, it's easy to be a good publicist when you've got a really great product, and you do great work. So anyway, yeah, I'm having a good time. It's kind of funny because I've been in the music business now for 35 years, roughly, give or take. I don't want to have to do the math, but this is a completely different side of it, isn't it? Try to put out your own record. It's a different world.
It sure is, but I've been listening all morning. I just got back from Texas last night, and I've been listening, tapping my toes and saying, "Good for you. What a great line, Lance. Oh my gosh, look at that." I mean, it's just one of those albums, and I hope you take this in the right way. It's different. And what refreshing, I heard that a lot through the years. It's refreshing, or it's just different from everything else. And that's what I go for.
That's what I go for too. And like you, Joni, I don't want to remake somebody else's record right now. But I'm trying to find, all along, this has been trying to find my own voice. And, for years, I wrote songs and just kind of kept them here at the house, even though I would play occasionally here and there. But it occurred to me that, sitting on these songs, I was not being a very good steward of the songs. And so I decided I'd go on and quit these things out. And the response has been really overwhelming. I never expected it to be, to go as well as it has. I did this record thinking all I was going to do was make a little calling card so I could hopefully get some different clubs, where I could go play some more songwriter events. And my friend John Porter, who I've known since I first started in management as a publicist there, I gave him a copy of it. Next thing I know, he's worked out a distribution deal for me, and he's got all these plans for releasing it. And I couldn't be more grateful to John for seeing a bigger picture than what I had imagined. We're having a really really great time with it. I mean, I don't think Taylor Swift is sweating, but you know,
Well, it's just great when a real talent shines through because, it's just it warms my heart so much to see somebody like yourself who, has done a lot of other things and you're saying, you know what, it's not too late to follow that dream of being a singer, and it's not too late for me to be doing some new projects that I'm working on with Hudson. And you know, it's just heartwarming because there's so many people out there that say music isn't the same anymore and the good stuff doesn't ever come back out or you can hear it, and you're just proving them wrong, Lance.
you know what I always liked about you, Johnny, is that when I would listen to you, I felt like that if you never made a dime and you stayed at home and never played for anybody but yourself, you'd be doing the same kind of music that you're doing right now. And it's the love of it. And when if you love the music that you're making, there's no age that defines when you can and can't. And frankly, what I'm finding, it's there are a lot of people my age. I just turned 65 last year, and there are a lot of people my age that are still looking for this kind of music.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of the youngest generation that's also looking for it too. Um,
I'm sorry, Hudson, I missed that.
there's also a lot of the younger generation that's looking for this kind of music as well. They want that storytelling. They want that real music. They don't want the cut and paste and reverb and all of that stuff. They just want real music.
I think you're absolutely right, and good music doesn't have an age attached to it. I've been still listening to the Beatles. Uh, you know, it just good music is good music with good music.
Absolutely.
Tell us how you actually got your start, Lance, in the whole music. Did you come from a real musical family, or did you just decide that you wanted to pursue this, or?
Well, my grandmother played every instrument on the planet, and I can't remember ever hearing her, but I like to think that by the time I could be around it, she was a little too old to play. But my dad had got a guitar just like hers, and I'll try not to make this too long-winded, but he had an old 47 LG Gibson, and he would play that chokehold G, listen to George Jones and guys like Bobby Bear. And I was really intrigued by the instrument and started taking lessons. And before long, my guitar teacher and I started playing the Am and Bean circuit, at the churches.
Yeah.
And then I sat up in Kentucky working as a journalist, and it's miserable up there because there's nothing to do if you don't hunt and fish. So I moved to Nashville with the hopes of being a songwriter. And I got here and obviously had to make a living, so I went to work for the Nashville Banner as a writer. And you can't make a living as a journalist either. And I bumped into a girl named Diana Johnson. She was a VP at the Country Music Hall of Fame, and I was at the Bluebird Cafe. And I bumped into her while I was drinking a cup of coffee, and she told me that I should call Liz Steels at Network East. She thought she might be looking for a publicist. I called Liz the next day, and Liz hired me the next afternoon. And so I worked for Liz for a year. Liz was one of the first publicists in Nashville that was dedicated exclusively to music. And she represented at the time Charlie Daniels and Reba McEntire, Nanci Griffith, the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And when I went to work for her, my first responsible client was Newgrass Revival with Sam Bush and Pat Flynn, Bela Fleck, and John Cowan. And they were just really taking off then, and their management seemed to like me. So a year later, the management hired me to come to work as the liaison for Vector Management. And there we represented Lyle Lovett and Nanci Griffith and Steve Warner. Just so what's a great artist. Yeah, I stayed with Ken for 10 years till he went to work running his own record label, Rising Tide Records, which was an MCA label. And so I stepped out as my own publicist, and my first client there was Clarence Gatemouth Brown, the blues artist out of Slidell, Louisiana. And shortly after, Joe Ely came from Vector with me, and Sam Bush, worked with him. So over the years, I've had a very eclectic roster.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I always wrote songs, but I always thought it was, kind of a icky thing to be working for somebody and pushing my songs on them. So I never talked to my clients about songwriting. I never did. I don't think they knew it. And it's kind of funny because like one day I was over at Arista Records with Steve Warner, and Steve was in the PR department signing a bunch of posters, and he had no idea I'd ever written a song.
Hey there, country music fans, love the show? We're thrilled to announce the launch of our brand new website, Stories Round the Table with HudsonandJoni.com. That's right, Stories Round the Table with HudsonandJoni.com. There, you'll find everything you need to stay connected with the country music world. Browse past episodes featuring your favorite country artists, get a sneak peek at upcoming shows, and even learn more about Hudson James and Joni Harms, the dedicated country music enthusiasts behind the mic. But wait, there's more. Now you can show your love for country music with our brand new merch. From comfy tees to stylish mugs, we've got something for every country music lover. Head over to the website to check out the collection and rep your favorite artists and the genre you love. Stories Round the Table, your go-to for all things country music. Visit Stories Round the Table with HudsonandJoni.com today.
And I'm standing in the doorway while he's doing his work in the PR department. And across the hall was the A&R director. And I hear one of my songs come up on his stereo. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, please don't trash this while I'm sitting here. And he played through the whole song. And he didn't say anything. And I'm kind of breathing a sigh of relief that he didn't, blast me. And nobody even knew it but me. He didn't even know that I had written that song. And a few minutes passed, and Tim Dubois, who was the head of the label, came in, sat down, and they started playing it again. And I thought, oh, great, I'm going to get it from Tim Dubois now. And Steve's just over there signing, oblivious to what's going on. They played it all the way through. And Tim got up, walked out the door, and as he was walking out the door, he told, I can't remember who it was, the A&R guy, he told him to put the song on hold. And I sat there quietly, fly on the wall, as all that happened.
What's the story?
And nobody knew. And I went home and told my wife. That was the only person I told. I told my publisher. I called my publisher and told him, but they put it on hold for Diamond. They put it on hold for Diamond Rio, and of course Diamond Rio didn't cut it. So see where they are now. That's very true.
Wow. Quite a story. Well, I know we don't have a lot of time, so tell us about So Far So Good. I listened to this album this morning, like I said, and it is amazing. Everybody that is tuned in listening to this, I must say you've got to get this CD and download it. And I guess they're not CDs anymore. I still call them that, but a collection of Lance's music, because it is so good.
It is a really
Thank you,
album.
Joni. Thank you very much. Like I said, I've been just really happy with the response. I've gotten really good reviews, and I was up in Maine. I got called to play up there. Massachusetts, excuse me. My Maine day canceled, but I got to go up and play in Massachusetts and East Tennessee. I'm going to Alabama next week. It seems to be working for me. I'm having to learn what you've known for years, Joni. It's not easy.
We dial in your name and the name of the album and download it that way, right? Or what's
That's right. Lance Cowan Music is my website, and that's Cowan, not E. A lot of people misspell it with E-N, but it's A-N. And it's on Spotify and all of the platforms. iTunes. I think it pulls from all of the, obviously would pull from all the influences I grew up with. I started listening to John Denver when I was a kid, and heard him say his favorite songwriter was John Prine. So I started listening to John Prine, and I, kind of pulls in influences. I really love West Coast California country stuff, like the Eagles and Jackson Brown. So I think most of those influences are pretty obvious in there if you like that kind of stuff. I got to write with David Mallet, who's I've been a fan of for 1,000 years. David wrote Garden Song for John Denver.
Yeah.
And Red Rose for Emmylou Harris. Just an amazing artist in his own right. And that's the first song is So Far So Good that David and I wrote. It kind of hits that idea of being older and starting. That the last verse talks about, when I'm old and when I'm tired, I'll sit home and I'll stoke the fire. But right now I'm still up for hire.
You bet. I hope that maybe Hudson can work some magic and get us out to do a show or two together sometime. That would be a hoot.
That'd be remarkable. I would love that.
That'd be kind of cool. We'll have to look into that for sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
I don't know what you got for Lance. You got probably a question or two yet before we have to wrap it up?
Well, yeah, how about you share with our listeners one of the favorite songs that you wrote, and just share a little story behind it.
On this record, I would say probably Little Johnny Pierce is one of the stories. It was inspired by a guy when I was growing up in West Kentucky. A guy that grew up down the street from me during the Vietnam era mowed a peace sign in his front yard, and it's called Little Johnny Pierce, and that one has gotten a lot of attention. I won't spoil it, but it's about how he does creative things with his lawnmower, and so and then of course A Place for Everything that I wrote with Sam Gay was about our fathers and their love of junking and keeping stuff piled around the house. It's I'm sure it's hard for you to pick favorites too, Johnny. It is hard for me to name one over the other. I'm really excited. Yeah, they really are. I'm really excited because I'm currently working on the follow-up, which will be out in February. And when we recorded the first record, 4 of the tracks were with a group of guys that are friends of mine, and the guy who produced those 4 tracks decided it was time to get back together. Got him Jason Toledo, and so he put together a session thinking we'd get 5 or 6 songs recorded at the Sound Emporium in Nashville, and we ended up doing 10 tracks in 2 days.
Wow!
It's Dan Dugmore who played for years with James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt, among others, kind of the go-to steel player in town. Pat Flynn from Newgrass Revival, still a remarkable guitar player. Vinny Santoro, who plays drums with Rodney Crowell and the Highwaymen. Well, not the Highwaymen anymore, but he's really a top shelf player. Piano player named Todd Smith, who is remarkable, and Jay Turner. And then we pulled in, and Jay is a real inventive bass player out of Annapolis. And we pulled in the Davis brothers, who for years have been the backing vocalists for Alabama. And we just had a great time.
Great. Oh,
yeah. I'm real excited about it. It should be, we're in the mixing phases right now.
Well, those guys wouldn't jump on board to do that with you if they didn't believe in what you're doing either. I know I've had players sometimes say it's just use that word refreshing again, but it's nice for them to get out and have something new to play too.
What's been kind of neat is how above and beyond they've gone.
Yeah.
Obviously, we paid the guys for their time, but how much they kicked in after that has been amazing. Send me these tracks, I'll add this part or it's that. It's been really remarkable how they jumped up to support me on this. I can't I can't say enough how much I appreciate these guys. And you know what strikes me, and you'll appreciate this, Joni. These guys are not just sidemen.
No,
They are artists in their own right. And they don't come in and just, when you get to that level of player, they don't just dial it in. They are concerned with how they represent themselves. And so you pull in these guys who are artists and you get their art and mixed with yours. And it's so fun. It's so fun to hear how these guys interpret what I wrote.
well, my mom always used to say, Lance, that you reap what you sow. And you have been so kind to everybody through the years. And I think it's finally your turn. And I truly couldn't be more thrilled to see everything going so well for you.
I sure appreciate that, Joni. It means a lot to me. I've been a fan of yours for a long, 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 long time. And I'm so happy. And by the way, congratulations on your daughter getting married.
Oh, thank you. Yes, she's out there pursuing the music business pretty hard too. And so I will absolutely tell her that you wished her the best. And I know that Hudson and I wish you the very best. Hopefully we'll be able to cross paths down the road here very soon. And we'd like to just keep in touch with you on this new album you've got coming out. Let us know when we can start promoting that for you too. And I can't recommend this album enough to our listeners. Make sure you have a listen and check out everything that Lance Cowan's all about.
Thank you. And I look, Hudson, get to work. Get me and Joni together on some things.
All right, we'll definitely look into that, man. We'll definitely look into that. I sure appreciate. All right. Hey, I thank you so much, Lance. The stories were amazing. It's always all of your inside stuff.
I didn't get on here and just start talking. People have to say, Lance, shut up.
Well, that's why we call it Stories Around the Table, so you can just tell your story.
Well, thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it. It's good to catch up with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance.
All right.
Have a great day.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.
Talk soon.
Next week on Stories Round the Table, we're thrilled to welcome a true legend of Christian music, Bob Carlyle. From his early days as a singer-songwriter in Nashville to his rise to fame with hits like Butterfly Kisses and The Promise, Bob Carlyle has captivated audiences worldwide with his soulful voice and heartfelt lyrics. Join us as we delve into Bob's remarkable career, his songwriting process, and his life as a musician and father. This is an interview you won't want to miss.
This is a Lone Star Legacy Productions